Hello, everyone. My name is DJ Williams, and I'm here to speak to you guys about money matters. Okay, money is something that you're always going to have for the rest of your life. You're always going to need, and you're going to want to know how to access it. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with just some information you should know about the different types of accounts. First is a checking account. What is it? A checking account is an account that lets you write checks or use a debit card to pay bills or buy goods, right? The financial institution takes the money from your account and pays it to the businesses or a person that you made the purchases from, right? So the financial institution will send you either electronically or in the mail. Most of the time it's electronic nowadays, but it'll send a monthly record, also called your statement of deposits and withdrawals made on the account. So this will tell you exactly what you did that month, what you spent, what you put in the account, and everything like that. Now, what is a savings account? A savings account is an account that you can open with a certain amount of money. Depending on the financial institution, which that could be your bank, Bank of America, MidFirst, Chase. There are so many banks, but those are just some of the main ones. And that might earn interest, right? So you may be subject to a monthly fee if your balance is below a certain dollar amount, depending on the financial institution. So usually for saving accounts, you have to have a certain amount of money in there. So it may be $50 that you have to keep in there and you don't go under that, or they'll charge you. It just depends. Next up, the difference between deposits and withdrawals. Okay, a deposit is money that you add to your account. When you add money to your account, you may usually need to fill out a deposit slip. That's if you go inside. I know now a lot of people, you just deposit it right at the ATM, right? The easy way. A deposit slip tells the bank how much money you are adding to your account, depending on what you deposit, like either cash or payroll check or a check drawn from an out-of-state bank. You may have immediate use of funds. This is what you want to know. The bank must first make sure that there are funds from the bank that cover your check. So one thing you want to always do is ask, when will I be able to access the money that I'm depositing? So sometimes it might be the next business day, or hopefully what you want to know is that it's immediate. You want to be able to use that money immediately. So withdrawal is the exact opposite. A withdrawal is the process of taking money out of your account. You do this by either writing a check, using an ATM, or giving a teller a withdrawal slip, right? That's when you go into the bank. A withdrawal slip looks similar to a deposit slip, except you're taking money out rather than adding money to your account. You need to be sure you don't withdraw more money than you have in your account. So make sure you know your balance. One thing you want to keep in your mind is your balance. You can check that through the mobile app, or you turn your debit card or whichever card you're using over and call that number. Make sure you know what's in your account. If you do overdraw, then you'll be charged a fee. So you want to make sure you have the money in your account. Now we're going to go to a debit card versus a credit card. Okay. A debit card is also referred to as a check card, which will have the logo of MasterCard or Visa. It'll have that magnetic strip at the top. Use a black strip. And it allows you to pay for goods and services at stores and other businesses that accept MasterCard or Visa. So when you use a debit card, the money comes out of your bank account immediately. The bank might give you a debit card that also functions as an ATM card. That's when you can drive up and just withdraw money if needed, or like we said earlier, deposit money. With the debit card, you can make deposits to or withdrawals from your checking account at ATMs, like I just said. Some debit card users might require a PIN if you use the card as an ATM card. So if you have a PIN, it's either a 4-digit or 6-digit that you create, that you remember and you're able to use it. So if somebody takes your card, they don't know that number. Okay, a credit card. This is issued by a financial company, giving the holder an option to borrow funds, usually at the point of sale. So credit cards charge interest sometimes and are primarily used for short-term financing. Interest usually begins 1 month after a purchase is made, and borrowing limits are preset according to the individual's credit rating. So one thing you want to do with a credit card, if you buy something with it, you want to pay it off as soon as you can. That's the best thing, and that's what builds your credit, right? And you want to make sure within that month, usually after that month goes by, it'll put some interest on there and you'll be paying more than what you actually spent. Okay, so now overview of credit. Credit is the ability to borrow money. When you borrow money on credit, you get a loan. You make a promise to pay back the money you borrowed plus interest. Now, interest is the charge for the privilege of borrowing money, typically expressed as an annual percentage rate. And that, as an example, is around 20%, right? So it's an extra amount of money a financial institution charges you for letting you use its money. Now, after we talk about credit, we talked about interest. Now, the principal, which is on top of that, that's the amount of money you originally borrowed and agreed to pay back. So your credit card, you could get a maximum of $500 or $1,000. That is your principal, and that doesn't include interest. There are a variety of reasons of the importance of having credit. So it can be useful in time of emergencies when you need extra money, something happens, you're like, oh man, I need my credit. It's great to have a credit. Next, it is sometimes more convenient than carrying large amounts of cash. That is a lot safer and you'll know exactly where it is, right? It also allows you to make large purchases like a car or a house and pay for it over time, right? So that's a good thing your credit is for. And then also prospective employers, landlords, and insurance companies may look at how well you manage your credit. So you want to make sure you do everything right with your credit. Also, once you obtain the ability to borrow money or acquire credit, you will generate a credit score, or it's called a credit rating. And also it's called a FICO Score, which stands for the Fair Isaac Corporation. And your credit score is the number that helps lenders determine how much of a credit risk you may be. So your payment history is the largest percentage of your credit score. That's why it is important to pay your bills on time. If you do not have a history of late payments, your score may be lowered. If your credit card balance is close to the limit, or if you have just begun to use the credit, right? So the FICO scores can range from 300 to 850. You are always going to be shooting for that 850. It can be hard to maintain, but once you do and once you learn how to use credit correctly, you got it. Okay, a credit card example. Okay, so let's say John and Jane both have $2,000 debt, $2,000 of debt on their credit cards, which require a monthly payment of 3% or $10, whichever is higher. Both are strapped for cash, but Jane manages to pay an extra $10 on top of her minimum monthly payments. John pays only the minimum. Each month, John and Jane are charged a 20% annual interest on their cards of outstanding balances. So when John and Jane make payments, part of those payments go to paying interest, and part go to the principal. Here's the breakdown of the numbers for the first month of John's credit card debt. His principal is $2,000. His interest is $33. So that divvies it up right there. 2,000 times 1 plus 20% divided by 12. It's a lot of math. And then his payments are $60, which is 3% of his remaining balance. His principal payment is $26.67. His remaining balance is $1,973.33. Now, these calculations are done every month until the credit card debt is paid off. In the end, John pays a total of $4,240 over 15 years to absolve $2,000 in credit card debt. The interest that John pays over the 15 years totals $2,240, higher than the original credit card debt. See, now when he used his credit card in the wrong manner, he ends up paying more than more than double of what he actually used. He only had $2,000, end up having to pay $4,240, right? Wow. So here are just some examples, like we said earlier, of the accounts and the different types of cards. Your checking account, which is used to pay bills and make purchases, right? Then it goes to your savings account. Now, this is the one that may accrue interest, but it's based on the balance of the account. And it also may be charged a fee if below the minimum balance required. Remember, that's what we talked about. They say you can't go under $50. That's where that fee comes in if you do go under that specified amount. And then we have your debit card. Now, this is connected to your checking account, right? And your credit card is the other type of card we talked about that you can pay interest on the balance on your credit card each month, right? So all of them actually go right together. So that is all I have. I hope you guys learned something today. I hope this was a very knowledgeable presentation about money matters, just knowing that it does matter and there's different type of matters when handling your money. You want to know how to access it, you want to know what's needed for it, and you also want to make sure that you don't overspend, right? So here's some information on how to contact us. You guys can screenshot this and make sure that you have our contact and stuff like that. If you need anything, we're always there to help. Y'all have a good day.